Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel for another video. And as you guys read by the title, we're going to talk about the time that I thought I died from smoking weed. But before we get into this video, make sure to subscribe and also give this video a thumbs up. So without further ado, let's jump onto the clip. Alright, so we're going to take it back. I had a friend. We were actually friends in 4th grade. We were actually really good friends. But once we started reaching our high school years, she ended up moving to Florida with her mom because her parents ended up getting divorced. So once, high school was over, she moved back with her dad, and she and I actually kind of reconnected on Facebook, and then we decided to actually hang out. So this happened back in 2008 or 9, and we started hanging out, and it was really good. Like, we started catching up on things, and I never realized that she was such a heavy weed smoker, because every time we hung out she was smoking. And she would even tell me, like, we'll be texting while she's at work and she'll be like, oh yeah, I'm on my break smoking weed. And I'm like, damn. And me, I never smoked weed. I just never was interested in smoking weed. Like, all my friends around me did, but me, I just never had that, like, feeling like, yeah, I want to get high. You know what I mean? So one day, she actually got that ahead of me. She was like, hey, why don't you smoke? Like, take a puff. And I'm like, nah, me, I get peer pressure. And I was young back then, so I was like, sure. And I went ahead, smoked, and I got high. Like, I got stupid high. Like, we were literally laughing. We went to Pathmark to buy munchies because we just started having the craziest munchies. And, we went to Pathmark. It was funny because, when you go to grocery stores, their lights are super bright, and our eyes were like literally red. And we're like squinting and we're laughing, so it's like, I'm pretty sure everyone who was there kind of knew we were high. So we went ahead, I think we started having a craving for cookies, so she got sugar cookies and I ended up getting chocolate chip cookies. So finally, we went back to her place and we just like ate our munchies, chilled, and that was it. Then there was this one time that pretty much, we both decided, we were hungry. So we went to Olive Garden, because who doesn't want to go to Olive Garden? And, everything was fine. We ate. We ended up going back to her place. We don't smoke in her house because she lived with her dad. So we actually smoked like either outside when he wasn't home, or we smoked like in her car. So we were actually at the corner of her house in her car, and we decided to spark up a blunt. We started smoking, passing, puff, puff, pass, and everything was fine. I didn't feel anything. Like, I was good. As soon as, like, she dropped me off home, I was looking for my keys in my purse. I opened the door, and that's when it started. You guys. I was sitting on the steps, and I just started thinking about, like, oh my gosh, my parents are gonna, like, they're probably awake. They're gonna smoke weed off me, and they're gonna get so mad. Like, I need to look for something. So I found my body spray. I started spritzing myself, and then I just sat there at the staircase. And I don't know if you guys ever seen The Night of the Museum and remember the Easter Island head that he goes, dum dum, gimme gum gum. Well, his voice was in my head. Like, all I could remember was hearing dum 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 dum, like just like that. And it'll start off soft and then it'll get super loud. And I felt like, because the louder it kept getting, I felt like my ears were, like, my eardrum was literally about to burst and I was gonna go deaf. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? So I'm like scrambling for my keys. I, got to the door, I dropped them, and all of a sudden I'm just like knocking like a maniac. Just kept knocking and knocking, and it was just so surreal. And then all of a sudden I remember seeing, family open the door. I see my mom, my dad, and my brother, and then all I remember was collapsing. While I'm, collapsed on the floor, I then, started having an outer body experience. I felt like my spirit was like lifting from my body, and I can see, my parents and my brother, and I can hear my brother on the phone because I guess he was talking to someone. It was weird. I felt like somebody was calling to ask for me, and he was telling them that I was dead. And, I just kept, my body kept rising. I was going to a white light. Like I was just seeing a white light, and my body was going to it. And like, I can see my parents sobbing, going crazy. So, previous to that, like, I lost a really important person in my life. And it was such a difficult loss. And it's crazy because when I was reaching that white light, he was the one person I saw. And, I was at that point in my life where I was pretty depressed. And I didn't want to live anymore because I felt like I think I'll make it easier on my family if I never existed, or if I just don't exist anymore. So I just kept telling him that I wanted to be with him. But he kept like telling me like, no, you have to go back to your family. Like, they're suffering without you right now. You're still young. You still have a life to live. Like, you don't want to end up here. So he like literally pushed me, and I just feel myself floating right back onto my, body. So as soon as I, reach, down to my body, I remember yelling. Like, I wasn't conscious yet, I don't believe. But I kept saying, they're coming, and I can hear my brother saying, who's coming? And I was actually talking about the ambulance, because my brother, I guess, called 911, and an ambulance was coming. And I don't know how I knew they were coming at that moment, but they were, and I was saying that. So pretty much like, I remember gasping for air, and that's when I woke up. My mom was like right there, my dad was there, my brother, and they helped me up. They got me to the couch, and that's when the paramedics came in. And pretty much the paramedics just told my parents what they believe is I must have had a panic attack. They did ask me if I did any drugs or anything, and I was like, no. And I was just kind of annoyed because I wanted everyone to leave. So they just made me sign some papers saying that they showed up and that I was okay. And then, they left. My mom helped me to my room. So I, got into bed, and I remember seeing my TV on, and I don't know what the hell I was watching, but there was, a lion. So I don't know if it was like Animal Planet or something, but I see a lion, and I was just drawn to the lion. And all of a sudden, here we go again. That freaking voice kept going, dum 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 dum, and it just kept going, and I just wanted it to stop. And all of a sudden I passed out again. I didn't wake up until the next morning. So as soon as I got up, I just felt completely sore. I felt like I was hit by a car, and my hands were in so much pain. When I looked at my knuckles, they were bruised. And I really thought I dreamt this. Like, I really thought it was all a dream. It never happened. But when I see my hands, I'm like, that's my proof that something happened. I was home alone, and, I ended up texting my brother. And I was like, hey, what happened last night? Like, was that for real? And he said, yeah. He was like, you went crazy, and you just like passed out. And dad gave you CPR because you weren't breathing, and it was just so crazy. But he said it happened relatively quick, but for me it felt like it was long. Like, I was out for a long time, and it was just crazy. Like, I just couldn't believe it happened. So I ended up texting my friend, because I was the one who spoke weed with her. So I text her, and I'm like, hey, were you okay last night? Did anything happen? And she's like, no. And I ended up telling her what happened to me. And she was like, oh no, you tripping. Because I asked her, I was like, do you think maybe the weed was laced or something? But she, you know, she got offensive because she was like, nothing happened to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know, the weed wasn't laced. And, you know, ever since I, like, you know, I mentioned that to her, I never spoke to her again. She unfriended me on Facebook and everything, and I just never spoke to her again. And, you know, I just couldn't believe this happened. But ever since that whole incident, let me tell you, I never ever smoked weed again in my life. Like, I had people, like friends and all that stuff, like, hey, you want to smoke weed? And I'm like, hell no. Like, ever since that happened to me, hell no. Because you know what, I don't ever want that to happen to me again. Like, you know, chances of it happening again, you never know. But I just did not want to go through another episode. So, you know, I just left weed alone. Alright, so guys, that is it for my video today. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Links are in the description. And until our next video, bye.
I go anywhere with you, 'cause you fill my mind, or you fill my mind. We could build a dream, start up something new. Let the old be dead, let the shadows leave my head. When the world is on your shoulders and you feel like falling over, just come a little closer. I'll be there for you, I'll be there for you. 'Cause when we are together, I know you feel the tension. Just let me in your head so I can be there for you, there for you. The night is young, won't you sing for me? Won't you sing for me?